Good evening, folks. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2024, 7 p.m. This is the Londonderry Town Council special meeting. I'd like to call to order, and we'll start with the pledge. Always a good thing to start with.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. All right, so folks, we are here in accordance to the agenda set forward, the new business to discuss tentative collective bargaining agreements for 5 items. In attendance, we have attorney Liz Bailey as well as our finance director Justin Campo for presentations. I did briefly talk to Liz. I think as a matter of procedural business, I think it'd be good to go through these individually unless anyone has any objection. I'm open to feedback. Get the presentation from Liz on each one of these items, followed by the finance director, Justin, to present his portion. And John, from my understanding, you're going to make motions make the motion, or would you like to?
Well, I mean, you can wait for all the presentations and then make one motion if you decide you want to make one motion, or we can make motions as we go. Whatever you guys' preference is, I'm happy to accommodate.
I'm indifferent.
We can do one.
One for all together?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do
One's
that.
fine.
All right, so we'll start out with the tentative collective bargaining agreement for AFSCME Local 1801. Attorney Bailey.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to all of the bargaining teams on behalf of the various unions, the various 5 unions, which include town representatives of town employees, that is. So thank you for their professionalism and civility during the process. To start with 1801, before I get into the individual agreements, I thought it would be helpful to just give you feedback that pertains to all 5 of the agreements rather than repeat myself 5 times. So there's some
Just one other thing to add, Liz. As you go through the agreements, if you could describe who they are for the layman.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you. And while we're talking about maybe procedure, I think probably it would be best to have a motion per agreement just so that it's very clear for the record.
Okay.
So to start out with 1801, that is the first numbered union on the agenda. Those folks are with the DPW and with the town offices. But all of these agreements have some common denominators. All are 3-year collective bargaining agreements, which means the terms are from July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2028. And they also have some common features as to insurance. In each of the agreements, save one, and I'll get to that, the town will continue to pay 100% of the health insurance premium in years 1 and 2. And that insurance will be the Luminos product that already exists in the contracts. In year 3, there will be a cost sharing where the employees will pay 5% and the town will pay 95%. You notice I said there was one exception. The exception is that one of the other bargaining units, the TAP group, which we'll get to, they currently pay 4% in cost share and the town pays 96% in cost share. That will continue in years 1 and 2. And then in year 3, they will also pay 5%, and the town will pay 95%. With, again, one exception, there were no changes to the HSAs under these agreements. I already indicated that the current Luminos plan will be maintained. And there is an increase in the opt-out payment, whereby if an employee opts out of taking the town health insurance, they will receive a payment. In the tentative agreements, it is $5,000 for a regular full-time employee opting out of single coverage, $10,000 for a regular full-time employee opting out of 2-person coverage, and $12,000 for a regular full-time employee opting out of family coverage. There is language in all agreements adopting the town's proposed language concerning retiree insurance benefits. And in addition, these agreements maintain current levels of paid sick, vacation, and holiday by agreement with all of the unions. and there is an expansion of bereavement leave to a few defined additional family members. Now to turn to 1801, who, as I said, were DPW folks and folks within the town offices. In year one of the agreement, there is a 2.25% cost of living increase. In year two, there is a 2.5% cost of living, or COLA. I'll refer to that as COLA throughout. In year two, and in year three, there's a 2.5% COLA increase. This is a union where they have step scales instead of a wage range. So what was agreed to in our negotiations is that the step scale is truncated so that the first 3 steps of the current scale will be eliminated for the DPW folks, and the first 2 steps will be eliminated for the town office employees, and a step will be added at the top of the scale for all employees. And what that is designed to do is to allow the town to attract and retain employees better, so that the pay is more competitive. Now, in my presentations, what I'll do is I will turn to Justin after I give you the overview, so he can then provide the information concerning the cost items.
So in terms of this upcoming budget for fiscal year 26, it will be an increase of $87,071 from the currently what is budgeted, which is 1.4 cents on the tax rate. The estimated cost for fiscal year 27 is $110,988 with an estimated tax impact of 1.8 cents. And then in fiscal year 28, it is $84,243 with an estimated tax impact of 1.4 cents.
All right, any discussion from the council? Any questions? All right, with that,
1801 is,
This is the department assistants, town clerk, the DPW guys, as well as the custodians over and facility managers for the police department.
thank you.
One question, I don't know if I am able to get this answer or not. Are you at least able to say how many members of this group are getting the buyout from the insurance or not? I don't know if I'm able to ask that question.
I think that cannot be determined until after the contract is approved and goes into effect July 1st.
That's correct.
I guess the other end of it is how many have been taking advantage of it right now?
So give me 1 second to pull that up.
Or maybe, I don't know if you have that total number across all
So when
employees.
we did this out, based on if we were to have, I think it's 3 family plans switch over to a buyout, the town is in the positive, even with the people that are currently receiving it and just getting the bump up because of the discrepancy between how much it is and how much the family plan is. Does that answer your...
Maybe?
while Justin's looking that up, is there any other questions from the council or comments?
No. What point are you trying to drive towards?
I was just curious
Maybe I
upon
can-
how much savings we're getting from people getting a buyout.
So if you,
So we
if-
won't be able to make that determination until the contract is approved, as well as until open enrollment happens, because
Okay.
this won't be effective till July 1st. And somebody could currently be on a buyout, but
Yeah.
then their spouse changes jobs and the insurance isn't good, so now they have to go on, or they're now looking and determining, well, if I'm getting X amount from the town and their premium, my spouse's premium
Right.
is $6,000, well, it makes sense for me to take the buyout instead
Right.
of...
I know you had stated a number back in the fall and summertime about how many people across the town were taking advantage of the buyouts. And I don't know if that number was recorded or not from back at that time period.
Perhaps for the overview, maybe we could the family plan looks like it's going to go to about $44,000. So the buyout would be $12,000. So the savings to the town would be $36,000,
Right.
depending on who does that. I think we're speculating on what it could or could not be. So
Of
I think
course.
it's a little, just a little.
Nope, that's fine.
And
Right, and you have to keep in mind, this is, so currently a family plan for fiscal year 26 is going to be about 47,756. So if we're offering 12 instead of that, that's 35 that the town is saving
Right.
overall.
And where it's a little hard to, particularly hard right now, in addition to all the things we just talked about, to compare apples to apples, is currently the contracts vary depending on what the buyout is.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Where now
it-
we've uniformed it across.
Right, right.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
I'm all set.
Yeah, I think the negotiations team overall goal was to get to an even playing field across all units.
Wonderful.
That's good.
Thank you. I can move on if you would prefer to go on to the next.
You want us to vote?
Yeah,
If you would like to vote now, that would be
I'm
great.
happy to accommodate it any way we want to do this.
so I'll accept the go ahead.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for the council to approve a tentative collective bargaining agreement with ASME 1801, with the understanding that we'll be moving this for discussion on Monday for the warrant.
Second.
I have a motion from John, second from Sean. Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Approval of tentative collective bargaining agreement for AFSCME Council 93, Unit B, Londonderry Administrative Employee Association, and Town Administrative Personnel TAP.
Thank
Attorney
you.
Bailey.
Thank you, and I'll just refer to this group as TAP for the sake of convenience. I already gave you the overview about the common features for these agreements with the TAP people, who are town office employees and administrative employees. The cost of living in year one is 2.75% for a COLA. The remaining COLAs in this agreement are tied to CPI. So in years 2 and 3, that would be a range of no less than 1%, but no greater than 2.5%. In addition, in year 1 of this agreement, there is a one-time $7,000 adjustment for the environmental engineer position. That was based on our collective assessment of the role and the comparators and the market conditions for that position. In addition, this is a bargaining unit that has wage ranges, and those wage salary ranges are adjusted by virtue of our negotiations. Instead of being linked to CPI, which varies from year to year, what we and the union agreed to was to have a wage range adjustment by a set percentage each year. So in year 1, that wage range is adjusted by the year 1 increase. And then in year 2, the wage range is increased by 3%. And then in year 3, the wage range is increased by 2.5%. And by doing it in that manner and having it be a set amount as opposed to tied to CPI, we will be able to have those wage ranges actually included with the collective bargaining agreements. So people who are wanting to keep up on that information or looking to work for the town will have that information readily available.
Thank you.
Now I'll turn to
Campo.
Mr. Campo.
Yes, so in fiscal year 26, the upcoming budget, it will result in an increase from what's currently budgeted of $52,491, which is 0.9 cents. That's 0.9 of a cent. In fiscal year 27, it will be an increase of $77,081, which is 1.3 cents on the tax rate. And in fiscal year 28, it'll be another increase of $77,672, which again is 1.3 cents on the tax rate.
Questions from the council, comments? All right, seeing none, I'll accept the motion.
Does everybody understand who this unit is?
Great question.
This unit would be like the middle management.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'll accept the motion.
Motion to approve tentative collective bargaining agreement with ASME Council 93 Unit B, with the understanding that it's moving to the budget discussion on Monday.
Second.
A motion from John, second from Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Number 3, approval of the tentative collective bargaining agreement with the Londonderry Association of Police Supervisors, also known as LAPS. Attorney Bailey.
Thank you. This is a new bargaining unit to the town as of this year. And so for this particular unit, by agreement with the union and the town, there are no COLA or merit increases in year 1 of the CBA. Instead, in year 1 of the CBA, and that's collective bargaining agreement, the wage salary ranges are adjusted, and the current positions in this unit receive a one-time adjusted new rate within the range. In years 2 and 3 of the CBA, the cost of living increases return, and they are tied to the applicable CPI. In year 1, it would be no less than 1.5% and no greater than 3%. And in year 2, pardon me. And in year 3, it would be no less than 1.5% and no greater than 2.5%. Again, we have kind of the same system with the wage salary ranges. Instead of being linked to CPI, which varies and you can't really tell what that's going to be at the beginning of the contract, we had the wage ranges increase year over year. And in year 1, that initial adjustment is based, the initial salary range are increased by, in relation to the initial adjustment. In year 2, the salary ranges increased by 3%. And in year 3, the salary ranges increased by 2.5%.
Thank you.
And I'll turn it over to Mr. Campo to explain the cost items.
So for the upcoming budget year, it will increase the budget by $82,018, which is 1.4 cents on the tax rate. The following year, for fiscal year 27, it will be $127,054, which will result in a 2.1 cent increase on the tax rate. And in fiscal year 28, it will be $99,958, which will be 1.6 cents on the tax rate.
Okay, and just for clarification, this is the police deputy chief,
Captains,
and
lieutenants,
lieutenants,
as well as paralegals, the IT coordinator, and the administrative staff.
All right, thank you. Questions from the council?
Yes, just one. Justin, I forgot to write down. For next year's tax rate for 1, 2, and now the third 1 year, what is the next year's tax rate effect on these 3 right now? Just for next year.
So just for fiscal year 26,
Yeah.
it would be 1.4 cents.
For this one?
Yep.
And the first one and the second one that we had done, sorry.
So for the first one, which is 1801,
Yep.
it'll be 1.4 cents. In the second one, it'll be 0.9 cents.
Yeah, if you recall, gentlemen, we gave a range, we gave direction. It appears that the negotiating team is, working within those parameters which we set.
And may I make a point of clarification to go back to the TAP unit and for the other unions we're about to discuss, including LAPS. There is an existing merit system within the various CBAs that continues. Other than with LAPS, as I indicated, in year 1, there would not be the merit increase. The information Mr. Campo had provided for the TAPS group is inclusive of that merit system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions from the council? Accept the motion.
Motion to approve tentative collective bargaining agreement with Londonderry Association of Police Supervisors with the understanding that we'll be discussing it as part of the budget session on Monday.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Number 4, approval of the collective bargaining agreement with the Londonderry Executive Employees Association. Leah, this is the department heads, Liz?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. So in year 1 of that agreement, there are no COLA or merit increases. Instead, in year one of that CBA, the wage salary ranges were adjusted, and the current positions received a one-time adjusted new rate within that range. In years 2 and 3 of this CBA, the COLAs are tied to the applicable CPI. In years 2 and 3, that would be no less than 1% and no greater than 2.5%. As we have previously discussed, the wage ranges were adjusted through negotiations. And again, what we did was in year 1, the initial adjustment was what how the wage range was increased. And in years 2 and 3, the salary ranges were increased by 2.5%. And other than indicated in year 1, the merit increase system remains unchanged.
Thank you. Mr. Campo.
For fiscal year 26, it will result in a estimated increase from the budget of $66,239, which is 1.1 cents. In fiscal year 27, it will result in an estimated cost of $61,599, which is 1 penny. And in fiscal year 28, it is $46,045, which is 0.8 of a penny.
Thank you. Questions from the council? All right, I'll start
Motion
with
to approve a tentative collective bargaining agreement with the Londonderry Executive Employees Association.
motion from John.
Second.
Second from Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, number 5. Chair votes in the affirmative. Number 5, approval of the tentative collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME Council 93, Londonderry Administrative Employees Association, LEA Public Safety. So this is the assistant chief, deputy chief, fire prevention, battalion chiefs on the fire, and then Administrative Employees Association Public Safety is also town staff. Can you give a no, not town staff. Thank you.
It's just those members.
Just those members. Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Attorney Bailey. Sorry.
Thank you. So in this agreement, in year 1, the COLA is 2.5%. And in years 2 and 3, that is, the COLA is again tied to the CPI. In year 2, that would be no less than 1% and no greater than 2.25%. And in year 3 of that agreement, that is no less than 1% and no greater than 2%. Excuse me. This agreement involves some additional certifications being recognized, such as EMT paramedic, with an amount of $1,000 for an exempt employee or $750 for a non-exempt employee, and an EMTI or an EMTA in an amount of $250. And then a certification recognized for fire plans examiner, which is only available to the position of fire marshal, director, division chief of fire prevention. The salary wage ranges were also adjusted through negotiations, and we essentially will have those ranges appended to the agreement, so it will be easy to see year over year over year. This agreement entailed the union and the town agreeing to a small decrease in the HSA, as I kind of alluded to when I was talking about insurance in general. And the decrease is to $875 for single coverage and $1,750 for two-person or family coverage. Again, that was with agreement with the union. And then this also, as I spoke of previously with other agreements, entails maintaining the current merit system as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Campo.
So in fiscal year 26, it will result in an increase in the budget of $38,501, which is 0.6 of a cent of a penny. In fiscal year 27, it results in an increase of $48,109, which is 0.7 of a penny. And in fiscal year 28, it results in an increase of $49,379, which is 0.8 of a penny.
Okay. Questions from the council?
Motion, go ahead.
Justin, if I'm tallying them all up for the first year, I think I'm getting
5.4 cents on the tax rate.
yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Motion to approve a tentative collective bargaining agreement with ASME Council 93 for the administrative employees LAEA, with the understanding that this will be going to the public session.
Second.
All right, a motion from John, second from Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Any last comments, questions?
I'd like
before-
to, I think we should thank the negotiating team. Justin Campo, Tara Koza, Liz Bailey put in countless hours here. Also should thank our valued employees for the time that they spent working with the negotiating team and express to them that we do value you, so that it was a very productive session from what I've heard.
Yeah, thank you for also help with guiding that as well, John. I appreciate that.
Just took your guys' message and just delivered it.
All right. So with that, folks, next meeting is January 20th, 7 p.m. here in the Moose Hill Council Chambers. Next after that, February 3rd, same time, same place, and then we have our deliberative session Saturday, February 8th in the Londonderry High School cafeteria at 9 a.m. And with that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion from Sean, second from Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.